Hey, I'm Stephen and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So every now and then my inboxes on social media, Instagram and Twitter at Stephen Mark Ryan blow up. Usually it's because there's either some breaking news, your girlfriend is feeling a little bit horny and wants to send some booty pics through, or somebody has said or done something completely moronic when it comes to the world of Tesla. A couple of days ago, a ton of requests came through, people hoping that I could react to a recent Edmunds review of Tesla's Model S Plaid. I haven't watched this video yet, although I have seen some of the commentary around this video and some of the tweets promoting it on Twitter. So in this video, I'm going to watch in real time for the very first time and let you guys know what I think. Now, before we get into this, I've noticed that the Edmunds review runs for over 20 minutes, so I'm probably going to cut out large sections of the review, not to be deceptive or manipulative or try to paint a certain narrative, but just in the interest of time. Otherwise, this video will run in at 45 to 60 minutes long. And I know some of you would enjoy a video of that length, but I think most of you would probably fall asleep. And besides, I've got better things to do. Shout out to your girlfriend. So with that said, let's get into the video. If you love crypto, stocks, and free stuff, or just want to help out the channel, check out these great offers. BlockFi are launching the world's first Bitcoin rewards credit card. People in the US can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase with no annual fee using the BlockFi Bitcoin rewards credit card. Check out the link in the description. And for a limited time, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description. And if you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $300 just for opening an account. And if you make an initial deposit of $5 or more, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $2,000. Seriously. Free stocks? Yes, please. And finally, if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also linked in the description. Thanks so much for your support, guys. Let's get back to it. Now, before we get into the Edmunds review, I just want to share a very recent tweet from Elon Musk. This is super timely and highly relevant. Quote, Tesla Model S Plaid just set official world speed record for a production electric car at Nürburgring, completely unmodified, directly from the factory. You can see here the total runtime, 7 minutes, 30 seconds, 9.09, and top speed, 166.32 kilometers per hour. A follow-up tweet from Elon, quote, next will be modified Plaid with added aero surfaces, carbon brakes, and track tires, all things that can be done without Tesla being in the loop. Another tweet from Elon Musk, track software update probably a few weeks away. I know, haha. And if you don't understand, Elon is laughing about Elon time. Also, waypoints and other things. And finally, Tesla doesn't have the bandwidth to do it, referring to modifying the vehicle themselves, but there are some good third-party mod shops. So I just thought that this was some important context before we watch the Edmunds review. Model S Plaid, literally a world record holder at the Nürburgring, the gold standard for testing the ability of vehicles to drive ridiculously fast through twists, turns, slopes, and hills. This is the gold standard. Tesla dominating. They literally have the world record for a sedan. Not bad. And just some final context, this is how Edmunds, at least one of the ways that they've been promoting this review of the Model S Plaid, I quote, the Tesla Model S Plaid is nothing more than a marketing exercise designed to draw attention to an aging car. Also, the Yoke is a joke. Our full review of the fastest car we've ever tested. Now, call me a little cynical here, but I get the impression that Edmunds are doing anything they can to get a few clicks onto this review, stirring up some controversy, making some big statements, some big claims there, trying to trigger some of the Tesla fanboys and fangirls as well. So let's see what they have to say in this review and whether there's any visible bias or whether they've given the Plaid Model S a fair go. Well, here we are on the review, and I've noticed already the like to dislike ratio, quite interesting there. Seems that a few Tesla folks have been triggered by this review, so whether or not that was a clickbaity tweet actually introducing people to the review or the content of the review, we are about to find out.
Hi, Alistair Weaver here for Edmunds with the Tesla Model S Plaid. One of the most anticipated, most outrageous and most controversial cars of the year. We're going to put it through the world famous Edmunds EV range test to see whether this version can do 348 miles on a single charge. We're going to drive it on road and track to find out whether this $135,000 Model S is a match for the Mercedes EQS and Porsche Taycan. And we're going to find out whether the Y in Yoke should really be a J. Now this is the bit you care about most, the acceleration test. Should also point out that this isn't a Tesla press demonstrator. To be honest, they haven't really been talking to us since we published our EV range test results.
We've already put the Model S into drag strip mode. That took about 7 minutes and 13-ish seconds when it indicated that it would only take 3 minutes, so a little longer than that. It says preparing for launch, suspension entering cheetah mode, and now we're ready to go. Oh my God. Oh, woo. Oh. Oh my God. Woo!
Well, I think his reaction says it all.
That is something else. A little breathless right now. The road just narrows in front of you. The second launch, here we go. I'm a little used to it this time.
You tested so many supercars.
And everything else. Does this feel different? Does it feel genuinely faster?
I mean, this is by far the fastest and most breathtaking acceleration I have ever experienced in any car that I've driven so far. That first time, I was just completely breathless. I felt like I was doing an acceleration run for the first time ever.
I've been driving this thing on the road a little bit, but I've deliberately held back from using full throttle because I wanted to film my actual reaction. So here we are on a bit of a straightaway. I'm doing 20 miles an hour. Bloody hell.
Once again, I think the reaction says it all. That really is the sound of someone having fun.
Here we go. Jeez. You just sort of lose that sense of perspective. Everything just suddenly starts coming at you so much faster than you anticipate. This car is all about straight line performance. It's a kind of modern electric interpretation of a good old-fashioned American muscle car. The problem I have with this car is honestly it's just all a bit much. It's way too fast for our tight and twisty circuit here. It's absurdly fast on the road, and I can't really see in the real world what it delivers over the Model S long range, which is already ludicrously rapid, travels further on a full charge, and costs $40,000 less.
Is this really a car review outlet? Wondering why you would want the ludicrous performance on offer in the Plaid, the world's fastest sedan? Is this real life? Like, is this seriously? The problem I have with this car is it's just so fast. Why would you even want this car when it's the world's fastest car when you could just get something that's better value? But we're not talking about value here. And by the way, speaking of value, let's be honest here, you get a $2 or $3 million hypercar that isn't as fast as the Model S Plaid for about $130,000, $140,000, depending on what Tesla's pricing it at this point in time. Now, let's think about this for a while. It's astonishingly good value for people who want ridiculous over-the-top performance. And I get it, and most people don't want this performance. This is why it's not a high-volume vehicle, but I'm kind of struggling to understand where the reviewer's coming from here. I mean, the whole point of a performance, let's move on.
This guy, you've really got to concentrate on just how fast you're going, and that worries me because I think people are going to get into trouble in this car. I mean, it's as fast as like a top-end motorbike. On a motorbike, you've got a real sense of self-preservation. You just wind up the windows, turn on the aircon, and then it's like a 1,000 horsepower golf cart. The other thing, these indicators on the Yoke, driving me nuts. What particularly irritates me is that the left and right are both here. So you use your left thumb for turning left and your left thumb for turning right. Feels like it'd make a lot more sense if you had the right one here, where your right thumb is, and the left one here.
Now, I personally haven't driven a Plaid and used the Yoke. This may be valid criticism. However, I have a funny feeling that most people get used to this relatively quickly. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever in your life used a video game controller where the left and the right were both on the left side. Have you ever done that before, or is it just me?
There's plenty of grip and it turns in nicely like all Teslas do, but ultimately it's not as much fun to drive as a Tesla Model 3. It's not as agile, it's not as nimble. Ultimately this car feels like it's sort of more about the bragging rights than what it can actually do. See, after a while you almost start to feel a little bit sick, you just turn in. I've never been car sick in my life. Ever. I've never even been sick on a boat. I've driven a Formula 1 car, I've been in the back of a two-seater Formula 1 car. And yet, today in this, I don't know if it's the tune I had at lunchtime or just sensations, I just started to feel like you get fluid in your mouth and you're like, oof, this is not good. And I had to come into the pits. It's the strangest feeling. I don't know if it's because there's no noise and you don't get that same sensation, so your brain isn't processing in the same way, that when you're in a supercar and it's noisy, or a race car and everything's happening, and your brain just kind of processes the speed. I really never felt like this before. Thankfully, after a bottle of water and a few deep breaths, I was feeling like myself again.
Now, honestly, I may be a little bit cynical here, but what are the odds that this is just a little bit of theatre to add a little bit of drama? Now, again, I've never driven the Model S Plaid. I have spent a day riding roller coasters, and I can actually understand if you're doing this for a long enough period of time, maybe you will start to feel a little bit car sick because the acceleration, the human body is not used to that. However, I'm getting some Top Gear vibes. For those of you that don't know, years ago, Top Gear wrote a script, a fraudulent script, and they faked a Tesla running out of battery, which created a huge amount of drama and a lot of interest in that particular show. Maybe it was just his tuna lunch, but in my opinion, this smells a little bit fishy. I get it, because okay, I'll see myself out. Jesus Christ, my ass is fat as f***.
So, Jonathan, Tesla claims 1.99 seconds to 60, quarter mile in 9.23 and 155. Edmund says,
A little bit generous on Tesla's part. He officially measured 2.3 seconds to 60 and a 9.4 quarter mile at 150.8 miles per hour.
so why are we behind Tesla?
Well, for one, we don't factor in rollout, which is the distance that the car travels over a foot right at the beginning. That's about 0.24 seconds that we don't subtract.
So if you subtracted that, we'd be around just under 2.1 seconds?
Correct, 2.1.
And we don't do that because presumably it's not very real world.
It's not real world. You know, in the real world, you're not going to be subtracting time from your run. This is what the car does from 0 to 60, not from, you know, 0.24 seconds to 60. I mean, I think that is the value that makes most sense.
The other thing is we're on a regular street surface, not a prep super sticky drag strip.
Right. It's what we would consider just your average street. It doesn't have any sort of VHT or stickiness to artificially augment your road grip. We think this is a very valid real world representation of what this car can do.
And while we haven't hit Tesla's figures, and in the real world it won't do 0 to 60 in our opinion in under 2 seconds, the magic 2 seconds, this is still the fastest car that we've tested here.
Yeah, I mean, it is by far the fastest car we've tested here, and the fact that it is maybe a 10th off here really doesn't matter. It is still phenomenally mind-bending fast.
In common with every other Tesla we've tested, the Plaid failed to hit its EPA range figure, but this time by just 3 miles. Also impressive was the Plaid's consumption. At 32.1 kilowatt hours per 100 miles, it actually bettered the much less powerful twin-motor Porsche Taycan 4S. You can play arcade games, you can surf the internet, and of course the pièce de résistance, Tesla's fart machine, is still present and correct. Several years old, but still funny. There is of course another function buried in here, which is always the talk of the Teslarati, and that's autopilot. And it is terrible. The haters can hate, and I know there'll be a stream of comments below about how wrong I am, but I've used this system in town, I've used it on the highway. On the highway, it's basically a sort of automatic cruise control, the kind of thing that you get in pretty much most cars these days. Around town, honestly, I think it's downright dangerous.
Well, I think I've discovered the reason as to why this Edmund's review of Tesla's Model S Plaid had so many dislikes versus likes. So just a quick question to all the Tesla owners watching. Let me know your thoughts about Tesla's autopilot feature, and do you find it, at least on city streets, to be, quote, downright dangerous? Let me know in the comments below.
Would I spend $10,000 of my money on it? Absolutely not. A very practical, versatile, 1,000 horsepower supercar. But, and it is a very big but,
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
This is getting kind of weird and spooky now. This is the third time big butts have come up in this video. Anyway, let's move on and pretend that that didn't happen.
the quality of this car just isn't good enough for $140,000.
All right, so I just want to take a quick moment here now. Let me ask you guys and girls a question. Maybe we have differing opinions here, but in my opinion, if you're paying $140,000 for the fastest ever production sedan, the fastest fucking thing on planet Earth, whereas you could pay $2, $3, $4+ million for a hypercar that's not as fast as the Tesla Model S Plaid. Are you more interested in performance or having woolly mammoth pubes in the stitching of your seats and unicorn tears in the wiper fluid? I mean, personally, if I was paying for the world's fastest car, I would be more focused on the performance and it being the world's fastest car than the luxurious, opulent features within. Just me? Or you guys kind of relate?
And if you compare the look and feel of things in here to the Porsche Taycan or the Mercedes EQS, frankly, it's a world apart.
I'd love to know what you guys and girls think about this. So I'm personally a minimalist. I love minimal design. I own very few possessions. Every time anyone visits me anywhere and ever has for the last 10 plus years, one of the first observations when they first come into my home is, damn dude, you don't own much stuff. I love minimal designs, and honestly, when I see the interior of most modern vehicles today, I vomit in my mouth. It's just like, why are there so many things? But that is a personal preference. I love the minimalist interiors of Tesla's vehicles. I personally find the interior of the Porsche Taycan and pretty much any other vehicle on the marketplace disgusting. It does my head in, but this is a personal preference. What do you guys and girls think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you prefer a minimalist interior or 600 bells and whistles, 400 knobs and dials and things to play with? By the way, there was a joke in there somewhere about playing with knobs, but yeah, I'll just let that one slide.
A lot of the panels don't line up properly. Tesla's had its own way in the luxury EV market for a long time now, but competitors are coming thick and fast, both from the old world with the likes of Porsche and Mercedes, and the new Lucid, Rivian, and everyone else. If Tesla wants to maintain its market lead, it's going to need more than antics on Twitter. It really has to focus on quality.
This is something on which I vehemently disagree. I could not disagree more here. Now, yes, there are some consumers who care about fit and finish and panel gaps and this, that, and the other, but they make up a very minor segment of the market when compared to consumers who care about other things like safety, features, functionality, even funny Easter eggs like fart mode, over-the-air updates, the ability to watch YouTube, Netflix, etc. inside a vehicle. These kind of things matter a lot more to most consumers than the tiny segment of the market who gets a massive raging level of excitement when they see extremely well-aligned panels. Let's just be honest. And yes, it's not perfect, but of all the things that Tesla need to focus on, panel gaps, fit and finish, they're literally at the absolute bottom of the pile of priorities. Now, a few people may argue, and again, I hear the point, it's not perfect. If you've got a gigantic gap you can stick your finger in, well, that sounds a little bit, yeah, let's just pretend that didn't happen. It's not ideal, but here's the thing. Tesla, for more than the last decade, has sold every single car they've ever produced. So I really don't think these kind of things actually matter. Now, a lot of people have this misconception that Tesla's trying to compete with BMW and Mercedes. They're not. They are eating their lunches, but they're ultimately going for the mass market. Consumers who care more about things that really matter and less about things like panel gaps. Just the facts.
Porsche and Mercedes also outrageously provide you with a proper steering wheel, but Tesla, not so much. All you can get on the Plaid is this so-called Yoke. As you can see, the yoke makes absolutely no sense when you're trying to apply lots of corrective steering. I've been around in here in a 911, it's the most fun in the world, but it's kind of okay on the highway as long as you're not trying to, do a 3-point turn or go on a particularly twisty road. Anything beyond that, it actually feels dangerous because you can't grab different bits of it. Honestly, this is a question that nobody asked and an answer that nobody wanted. It's just for Twitter. It's ridiculous. Don't let anybody tell you this is a good idea. I can't believe it's legal, to be honest. It's just daft. Why? The problem for me is that this yoke is really a metaphor for the whole car. It's almost as if Tesla's execs thought about how much noise they could make on Twitter and then worked backwards.
Now, I personally haven't driven a Plaid Model S, so I can't speak from experience in terms of using the yoke, but I suspect there is a little bit of a learning curve. However, I was a little bit surprised to see the reviewer there not attempting the one-hander, but hey, we'll forgive him on that. It might be a little bit too complicated of a motor movement to nail down when you've had the car for a few hours, and while you're still feeling a little bit under the weather after your tuna lunch. But in terms of generating noise on Twitter, I'm sensing a little bit of a case of the pot calling the kettle black here. Is it just me, or is this tweet, "Don't let anybody tell you that the Tesla yoke is a good idea," a little bit of hypocrisy? And we can continue on. We've got more talk about the yoke again, and of course the supposed car sickness after driving the vehicle. I mean, looks like a little bit of bad acting to me, but hey, I'm not making accusations, I'm just hypothesizing, just giving my personal impression.
A yoke on a road car is just plain daft. But then, so is the whole idea of 1,020 horsepower four-door sedan. I love the Tesla Model 3 because it's a genuinely groundbreaking car that's accessible to many people. This, by contrast, is just a marketing exercise designed to create attention for an aging car and to satiate the egos of multimillionaires in cocktail bars. Really, it's only good for one thing, and that's drag racing.
Now, this is an interesting hypothesis from the Edmunds reviewer here. I think you may find, potentially, just possibly, that the actual purpose of Tesla's Plaid Model S was to create an absolutely compelling smackdown to the internal combustion engine industry by making the fastest ever production sedan, proving unequivocally that electric is far superior, and in addition, as a way to push Tesla's engineering technology forward, start to implement some new techniques, some new technologies, and ultimately drive the cost of those down, and then get those into their more mass market vehicles. But hey, this is just a crazy theory that I have after all. What would I know? I'm just a Tesla fanboy. Let me know what you guys and girls thought of the Edmunds review in the comments below. I think overall they made some fair points, and some relatively absurd and or completely ridiculous ones. But hey, nobody's perfect. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card, where you can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase. There's a link in the description. You can also earn up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, also linked below. And finally, don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake, also linked in the description. These great offers also help out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.